Welcome back, Rekha Basu from the Des Moines Register. Yes, it is time for Rekha's Voice to find out what in the world we're talking about today, Rekha.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So,
you survived another birthday.
I did indeed. I am now comfortably on the other side of 60.
I had more people
Feeling
make comments saying I was real proud of Rekha, saying that she was proud to be the age she was.
Really?
And I
People
said,
told you that?
And I go, yeah. I said, you should be proud.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
And the biggest question, the biggest thing they said was, she is not that old.
Oh, you're making that
I'm
up.
not making it. My wife, for one, said.
Is that right? I love
So
Kathy.
Rekha doesn't look a day over at 93, so okay.
Nice.
It's true.
Nice.
It's true.
Well, see, now I have standing over you guys, so I can sort of kick you around a little bit more than I usually
You're our
do.
elder.
That's true.
Because I'm the village elder.
A person of wisdom.
So what are you going to wise us up about today?
So, as you may have noticed, I do not have a column in today's paper. In fact, if you open it to where my column would normally be, there's something by the Director of Americans for Prosperity, which would not be me, because I'm never standing up for the people of prosperity, but rather the others. I didn't write today because I've been sitting in a court trial this week.
Oh, fun.
So I spent all day Monday and Tuesday sitting in a courtroom in Polk County Courthouse. This is a fascinating lawsuit. And it is a case that's been filed against the former Madison County attorney, a man by the name of Zane Blessum, by a woman who was his former client during her divorce proceedings, his former lover, and she alleges his former, well, actually, he has been convicted of assaulting her. They had a relationship, and then it got very violent one night. He was criminally convicted, but now she's suing for a variety of charges, including assault, battery. It's a 10-count, actually, case. Assault, battery, malpractice, false imprisonment, and then a variety of clauses which are tied to his representation of her at the same time that he was representing her now ex-husband, and that he didn't, alleging that he didn't get her a good deal, and that he used inside information derived from their intimate relationship to support the husband's claims, financial claims, rather than hers.
Oh, wow.
So he was representing the ex-husband, but then sleeping around with her?
Crazy thing is, he claimed apparently that he was representing both of them, but technically he was representing her, and yet she feels like she just was taken to the cleaners on the finances of it. And if you look at the evidence that her side has presented, it is pretty clear that she seems to have been. But I mean, there are other. He hasn't had a chance. He's just started to take the stand, and today it's closed, and so tomorrow he'll be back on the stand.
So why are you wanting to be in court listening to this?
Why am I interested in this? Okay, so years back in the 1990s, I was writing a column about a domestic violence victim. And this was a horrifying case, which actually really opened my eyes for the first time to some of the challenges that survivors of domestic violence have to face in terms of dealing with the court and police system. So this woman had been, and there's a peripheral, I mean, there is a relationship to Zane Blessum, who was then the county attorney. He wasn't accused of assaulting her. He was the county attorney at the time. But what happened was this woman had a restraining order against her husband, and they were living separately because they were separated. He came to her house at about 10 o'clock one night, forced his way in the door, and then for the next hour and a half proceeded to try and suffocate her, putting her heads under pillows, letting her go when she was, choking to death, putting her back in. So what happens? The police are finally called. She manages to call the police. What do? They arrest her and charge her with facilitating the violation of a no-contact order. She had a no-contact order against him, but they don't charge him with violating a no-contact order. Can you believe this?
No.
So I called the county attorney, who was Zane Blessum, and I asked him at the time, why? I mean, this man is clearly in violation of the order, and he says, oh, no, he must have been there to assert his visitation, his custody and visitation with the children. Now, first of all, it's 10 o'clock at night, the children were asleep, and then it's spelled out in the divorce decree, right, where visitation takes place, when it takes place, and under what circumstances. So this was bogus, completely bogus claim. So then I said, but why? He said, well, she allowed him into the house. I said, no, he forced his way in. So he said, well, so she's being, I said, why is she being charged? He said, well, it's to take away her weakness and her, because, I mean, it's to tell her you should not be a victim. You stand up for yourself and don't be a victim. And if we have to charge her in order for that to happen, then that's what we're going to do.
So now this man is
This county attorney is now accused of domestic violence
so
and
you're doing a
severe
follow-up
battery.
to a man who was giving you bogus answers.
Exactly.
To
I mean, this was at the time I called him out in the 1990s in my column about what a ridiculous attitude he had towards domestic violence, and now here it turns out that he himself is guilty of it. He's been convicted of it, and now he's being sued on all of these different counts. So, I mean, it's just amazing. But what has been really, and of course, you know, I'm not in a position, at least not yet, to judge whether or not she deserves compensation for all that she's alleging happened. But one thing that really comes across loud and clear sitting through this trial, and is quite chilling, is what the impact of domestic violence can be on a person. And she, you know, she has a service dog. She cannot, she's so emotionally distraught. She claims it's as a result of his battery of her and his imprisonment of her on one night. But she also, there's been a lot of testimony about how she was assaulted as a child starting from the age of 7 by her stepfather, by her big brother. I mean, just horrible, horrible things were done to this woman. And she breaks down on the stand, and it just breaks your heart. She is in such fragile emotional health. And, you know, I wake up at night thinking about her and thinking, oh my God, you know, how can somebody be subjected to this kind of violence so many times? So it's really, I mean, it's really kind of chilling, but it's an important, I think it's a very important case. So
is this going to evolve into
a series
or a segment that we're going to talk?
You know, I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go. I'm planning to write something for my Sunday column about it, but at that point I don't know if it will have gone to the jury yet, if there will be a ruling. So I'll cover some piece of it at least for Sunday.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
Well, thanks for telling us the story.
Yeah, give us a little background on it.
Well, hopefully he's not going to be able to go back to his position of power.
He is no longer, he didn't run for county attorney again the last time around, so he's now an attorney in private practice.
Again. No.
Just so you know.
Keep your eye.
So you know, if you're looking for a lawyer, that might be the one you want to stay away from.
Jeez.